adapt. And I think what we're looking at when we see Himalayan balsam and we see Japanese knotweed and buddleia and grey squirrels and all sorts of things like that, they are the species that will survive because they can adapt to almost any condition.
In 2000, the UK adopted the European Community Water Framework Directive, which is a bit of a mouthful, but an important piece of legislation that requires member states to bring their freshwater habitats to good status by 2015. One measurement of this status is the control of alien species. Stuart Clark is Natural England's Programme Officer for Ecosystem Approach and Climate Change.
Early on, the assumption was that the Water Framework Directive was about water quality, and the Water Framework Directive is much broader than that. So basically thinking about rivers as part of the landscape, not rivers in their own right, and not thinking about rivers just as where water flows in and where wastewater sort of ends up. And that's really important for thinking about how we manage threats like non-native species, particularly plant species, because they're not isolated to single river stretches. They're the sorts of things that you need to kind of manage at the landscape scale to tackle, the various kind of sources. It's no good tackling the problem along 100 metres of river if upstream you've got problems that are a potential source of seed and could recolonise.
Why are plants like Himalayan balsam, and they were buzzing with honeybees when I saw them, such a problem on our riverbanks? Andy Byfield is Landscape Conservation Manager for the wildflower charity Plant Life.
I think the big problem with it is it's just such a big, fleshy plant. It grows 6 feet high, it produces tens of thousands of seeds each year, and what it does is just to effectively blanket riversides with these seeds. They're annual, they grow up each year and form a dense blanket and just homogenise all that habitat.
Now, Himalayan balsam is very widespread in the British Isles. Is there any hope of controlling it or reducing its spread?
I don't think there's any hope of reducing it in big river systems like the Severn, but I know of an example down in Hampshire where the Hampshire Wildlife Trust have started a programme. They've been looking at controlling it within the Lymington River system, which is a small water catchment, and there's been a project going on for the past 2 or 3 years, and I think they're doing really very good stuff in terms of getting that water catchment clear of Himalayan balsam. So I think it's a case of taking action where it's pragmatic and where it has a good chance of success, but not worrying